Welcome to MSA TV. I'm Eric Buzzard, North American Product Sales Manager for Cairns Fire Helmets.
I'm Ben Motti. I'm the Product Line Manager for Cairns Fire Helmets.
Now you might have noticed how we each called it a different name here. I called it Cairns, he called it Cairns. Cairns is actually the family name upon which this whole story was built. We know some of you out there call it Cairns, some of you call it Cairns, so we're probably going to mix and match these throughout this little episode.
Yeah, so to tell you a little bit about when Cairns was started, there was a luggage maker in New York City using specially treated leather for luggage to cross on transatlantic voyages. Well, he was also a New York City volunteer fireman and needed some protection for his head, so he used that specially treated luggage to make a fire helmet. Well, soon thereafter, he met some other guys in New York City, the Cairns brothers. And they
Henry and Jasper.
And they had a metal badge making business, and they came up with today is the front piece holder on the fire helmets. Since about 1836, they've been in business making fire helmets.
Yeah, and really one of the best lines that we have here is the leather helmet. We are still the only manufacturer of genuine leather. We don't take fake leather. We don't take other pieces of leather and glue it together and make Frankenstein leather. We're the only ones using true, genuine leather. And this helmet is, at least from the shell standpoint, is relatively unchanged since all those years ago.
It's 100% handmade.
100% handmade. So if you can see the stitching that's on these ribs, you can see the literally hand-stitched leather here that we got. And one of the other pieces of the puzzle is this ivy scroll work that we have going around the brim, the watershed of the helmet. The ivy represents strength and courage. If you think of a brick wall, maybe the wall at Wrigley Field, the ivy has the strength and courage to grow up that wall. And that's the same strength and courage that firefighters need to do their job, and that's why that ivy was added to the brim of the leather helmets.
Yeah. And as the Cairns brothers went on, there wasn't much innovation at first as they really focused on that leather that Buzz just talked about. But as they moved into the 1900s, they experimented with some aluminum fire helmets until they started getting a little too hot for people. And as we moved into the middle part of the decade, they switched to a material called Flint Flex, which one was the first non-leather and non-fiberglass helmets. And after that, it kept innovating and got closer and closer to the products that we have today.
That's right. And now if you look at some of the products we have fiberglass composite helmets. And these are the helmets that offer the same great protection that you got with the leather, a lot less expensive, a lot easier to replace when you do have to replace them.
Lighter weight,
and
too.
Lighter weight, and you're able to do a lot more with these fiberglass composites as you could do with the leather helmets. But the innovation didn't really stop with just the shell materials. The innards kind of got hyped up a bit too.
Yeah.
Partially due to some of the standards that hit us through the NFPA agency, 1971 being the standard that protects that. But also just in the innovation came out of the need to better protect firefighters. And
That's
so
right.
one of these innovations I'm holding right now is the impact cap assembly. Ben, how about this impact cap assembly?
Well, the impact caps were added, as Buzz said, in response to some standards and just to give the helmets a little better impact protection. And that's something now that's standard in every Cairns helmet, even the leather. So it's thick foam, and it provides impact protection against drops and bumps and everything like that. But another benefit of this impact cap is the thermal protection it provides. So it's a great barrier for heat. If you've ever seen a fire helmet that doesn't have one, it's not as safe. Some of the other interesting features that Cairns and Brother innovated were something like this two-block suspension here. And what it is, this entire overhead suspension is captured in this band, and when there's an impact, that band allows the suspension to expand a little bit that lets more energy be absorbed by the fire helmet. And that's not the only innovation on the helmet that offers a little bit of impact absorption.
Yeah, that's exactly it. If you think about the impact, the whole point of your helmet or head protection system is to get as much of that energy from that impact away from your head, away from your neck, away from your spine. And what the two-block and impact cap assembly do is it diverts that energy and absorbs it. And when the impact comes in, your head's going to push up against the suspension. This tube is going to expand, and that's what's going to deviate a lot of that energy from that impact away from your head, neck, and spine, keep you safer as a firefighter. Another innovation that we have with the helmet is the shell release system. Now, the shell release system on the helmet, the underside of the helmet brim, has a couple tabs on it, one on the left side, one on the right side. And the point of that is when there is pressure that is exerted on the underside of the helmet, the shell will break away from the impact cap assembly. Now, some of you out there may have heard that when that happens, that you're not really safe at all. Think of the alternative. If you don't have the shell release system, if something knocks at your helmet, you lose the helmet, and if you have a model that's got the impact cap assembly, you lose that too. So now you are in a structural fire with virtually nothing on your head but an Omex hood and maybe the harness of your face piece, your SCBA face piece. With our system, because you have that shell release system, when that shell breaks away, you still have the impact cap assembly on your head, which in and of itself almost meets all of the testing and certification of NFPA 1971.
That's right.
And the history of this actually dates back with the U.S. Navy working in conjunction with Cairns and Brother. They were some of the folks in the Navy, some of the naval officers were falling overboard. The firefighters were falling overboard, and as they entered the water, the brim of the helmet was catching the water such that it was kind of crinking their neck,
Giving them whiplash.
basically giving them whiplash. In
Yep.
some cases, we're breaking the necks and killing these naval officers. Cairns and Brother worked with the Navy so that when the shell broke away from the impact cap assembly, it didn't alter the person's neck as they entered the water. They were able to keep it kind of straight and not have these injuries or these fatalities. That's kind of the generation of, that's how this came about. So safety features that we've worked with our customers, it's a history of working with our customers, getting that feedback and improving the product to make firefighters safer.
Yeah, that's right, Buzz. And one additional feature of that shell release system is falling through a floor. We've actually had a couple firefighters in the last year whose lives were saved because their helmet caught, the shell released, and they weren't caught. They didn't get a broken neck, and they still had impact protection. So when they hit the floor below and the ceiling came crashing down on top of them, they still had that impact protection in place. So it's a great system. And one of the newest systems from Cairns that's perhaps one of the best innovations in the last few decades, really, since all this was going on, is the Defender visor. Now, NFPA 1971 requires you to have eye protection attached to the fire helmet. You can have an external visor. Some competitors have the Bork style eye shield approved, and you can have goggles. Well, the problem with all those types of eye protection is they get dirty, they get broken, they get scratched. They really just get destroyed as part of a fire. So whenever you need that eye protection, if you're doing overhaul or you're working on a vehicle extrication, it's junk. You can't really use it because it's dirty or cracked or crazed or melted. Oh, you going to show a good example of that, Buzz?
What?
What we have here is a 1044 fire helmet that's seen some heat. Now, if you were going to go ahead and maybe pull a ceiling down during overhaul, do you think you'd be able to see through that? I don't know. Do you, Buzz?
No, sir.
I don't think so. But what we do with the Defender that's stored in the helmet, you can see through that. It stays clean and protected up inside the helmet. Do you want to tell us some more about some of the other features, Buzz?
Yeah, I mean the other part of the Defender visor, again, it's not there when you don't need it, and there when you do. And again, it's not going to be subjected to a lot of the gunk and mess and junk that your helmet's going to see whenever you're doing
fire.
structure fire. Yeah, exactly. But then another piece of the puzzle is that let's say that something does happen to your Defender visor, a couple easy pulls, and the visor pops right out. So replacing the lens is actually very easy.
No tools.
And it doesn't require any tools. It requires very little time. So when it comes to changing out the components that you need to have as part of the standard, as part of the certification, it's a breeze. It's very easy to do.
That's right. And something I'd like to point out while you've got that in your hand, Buzz, there's a hole in the Defender visor lens. And the reason for that is we worked very closely with our customers on this. One of the problems we saw was that with a traditional face shield, they fall. They wear out over time, and when you go into a fire, the visor just falls down on your face, and it's really annoying. So what we've actually got is a post up inside the helmet that latches into this hole. So it's a hard detent, basically. It won't ever fall down. It won't ever wear out, which is just one new thing that makes it better than pretty much anything else out there.
Yeah, for those training officers out there, we've had plenty of them visit us as we work with different fire departments doing training for our distributors or for our own personnel. They'll come at us and they'll show us that their helmet's been used in training environments and their helmet looks
destroyed
like this.
If not worse.
And
yeah.
yet they pull down the Defender visor and it is still clear, scratch-free, and can still be used. So you can see the Defender visor offers you the protection that you need when you need it. It keeps the firefighter safer because it's not going to get gunked up and messed up while it's inside the helmet.
It's ready to use.
That's right. And it also helps out the bean crunchers because you're not always replacing these visors like you do with goggles or the other 4-inch face shields that you're using there. So.
That's right. Well, thank you for joining us. If you'd like to learn more about any of our products, visit the website. And I'm Ben Motti. I'm the product line manager for Cairns. And
Eric Buzzard, product sales manager for MSA Cairns. Thanks for watching, and we'll see
Thank
you
you.
in an episode soon.